Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really adorable little school bus charm. So I had been asked to create this, and I actually made this on the Alpha Loom, but you can do it on the Rainbow Loom or the Alpha Loom. I think it turns out really cute, and it would be a great gift for a teacher or a bus driver. So with the holidays right around the corner, this would make a nice little gift, or even for the end of the school year gift. I know we always like to give little gifts to our bus drivers and teachers, or it would be cute on a keychain or on the zipper of a child's backpack. To make your bracelet, you can use either the Alpha Loom or the full-size Rainbow Loom. And I do prefer to make mine on the Alpha Loom for a few reasons. I like the fact that the pins are spaced a little bit farther apart width-wise, so that way your bracelet has a little bit more room to grow down in between the pins. And I like the fact that they're spaced closer together lengthwise, because that way those clear bands that tie the rows together don't have to stretch as far. And then another really important reason is because it has this alpha comb that has the 7 hooks, which obviously will help you loom a lot faster. But I know that not everybody has access to the Alpha Loom, so you can definitely make this on your Rainbow Loom. You just need to have your pins set in line with one another, and you'll only need to use 2 rows of pins, so you can remove the 3rd row or leave it on, it's up to you. And then you would just use 7 sets of pins that are straight across from one another. And you would want to remove those blue base plates from those 7 rows so your bracelet can grow down. So I wanted to give you just a very brief demonstration about what it means to double a band. So when you're dealing with the Alpha Loom bands, they're nice and small, so all you do is stretch those straight across from one pin to the other. But when you're dealing with a regular size band, which you will often have to do if you want any color that isn't available for the Alpha Loom bands, you're going to have a band that's about twice as big. So you're going to have to double this, which you can do in your fingers, you can do it on your hook. What I found is the easiest is to just place it on one of the pins, twist, and then just loop that other end back on. And then what you just need to do is take your hook and grab both of those loops and stretch it straight across. So basically now you've just doubled that, so it's going to be about the same width as your regular Alpha Loom band. Aside from your Rainbow Loom or Alpha Loom, you're also going to need a hook of some sort. So I'll be using the Rainbow Loom metal hook. And then for your band counts, you're going to need 60 yellow, 22 black, 4 gray or silver, and I am happy to announce that I did notice that Rainbow Loom does have these silver and gold bands now available, along with the glow-in-the-dark, so you can find those on rainbowloom.com. And they had also sent me some other prototypes that I don't see available on the website yet, but I will point those out. You're going to need 4 skin tone, and these are one of the prototypes. So you're either going to have to use an existing Alpha Loom color for the skin tone, or you can use any other skin tone bands that are regular size. You would just need to double them. And then I'm going to be using for the colors of the kids' shirts. This is totally up to you what colors you want to choose, but for this one I'm using 2 pink, 2 orange, 2 green, and 2 purple. And again, these purple that I'm using here are a prototype. I think they're really a beautiful color purple. And they do have a different shade of purple that you can purchase right now. And you'll need 16 clear. And those are the bands that are going to hold the rows together. I'm going to place a grid pattern in the upper left-hand corner. And then I will highlight each row as we're working on it. So I'm going to have my loom set in a vertical position, and the first row is going to begin with 2 gray or silver bands, and they're going to be placed on the 3rd pin up from the bottom and the 4th pin up. So they're just going to go straight across, And you will need to twist these just for the start here. So it's going straight across and make a figure 8. And then what I'm actually going to do is twist it one further time just to make it a little tighter. So I'm just going to take it off and then twist it around one more time. So that's not a necessity to do that, but I think it helps a little bit more to keep it tight. And then the next one up, same thing. Going to stretch it across and twist. And then I will take my hook and just twist it around once more. Next, I'm going to add my crossband, and normally I use a clear band for this, but since it's only stretching across 2 pins, I'm just going to use a Alpha Loom band. So I have the same color, I have silver, and I'm going to double this. Now, if you're using the Rainbow Loom, you probably won't have enough slack to double this. You'll have to just use it singly, but I'm going to just place it on the pin, twist, and then loop it back on. And then I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to stretch this down over the next pin. So you're going to grab both loops, and again, if you feel like this is just too tight on your bands or it's too far of a stretch, you can just use that single. So push that down. In row 2, I'm using 3 yellow, so we're going to place 1 band on this 3rd pin up, straight across. And then I actually have 2 bands I'm going to place on the 4th pin up, because what we're going to do is move that top band to the next row up, or to the next pin up, so we can spread this out. So I need to take this cross band, and it's very tight, so just lift it up and over, get it to go right in the center. And then I'm going to remove the bottom band from each pin. And then what I'm going to do is take this top yellow, so you have to separate those, and it's going to move to this row above. And then you're going to push all of this down. Now I'm using a clear band for my crossband, and since this is stretching over just 3 pins, I am going to double this. So what you can do is stretch this out a little bit if you feel like you need a little more slack in your band. So again, I am going to double this on the pin. I'll just start here on the bottom, twist, and loop it back on. And then I'm taking those 2 loops and stretching it across those 3 pins. I'm going to push that down. And you can see I'm going to be always adding my crossbands on the right. It doesn't really matter if you add them on the right or the left, but I like to just stay consistent. In row 3, we're doing 3 yellow bands, so they're just going to go across the same pins we've just been working on. And then I have the clear band to come off into the center. And now I am going to start to use my alpha comb. So I have the bottom 3, and push down. Now we have our clear band again, and I am going to double this one as well. So stretch it over all 3 pins there. In row 4, I have 6 yellow and 1 black. So we are going to be stretching this out in both directions. So first I'm going to put a yellow on this third pin up. And then I'm going to put a black on top. And that's going to actually move down in a minute. And then I have just one yellow on the next pin. And then I'm going to do 2 yellow on the next. And I'm not doing anything with these other 2 yellow just yet, but we will in a minute. And it looks like my yellow bands are a little twisted. If you ever feel like your bands are twisted, you can just take your hook and run it along, and then that'll help smooth that out. So now I have the clear band. It's coming into the middle, and then I have the bottom band on each. So again, I'm just going to grab my alpha comb here. So pulling up and over. And now I am going to move these. So I have the black coming down. And I have the yellow, just the top one, moving up. But in our next row, we have to have it spread out all the way to the top. And this only gets us to the second pin. So that's why we need those other 2 yellow. I'm just going to push that down, and then I'm going to add the 2 yellow on this second pin down from the top. I'm going to take the bottom band, there should be 3 on your pin right now. Take the bottom, move it over the top, and then again this top one is going to stretch all the way up. So then that gets us all the spots we need to be at to do the next row. Now I have my clear band, and this time I'm not going to double it since it has to stretch over 6 pins. In row 5, we're going to start the first color, so whatever you want the bus driver's shirt color to be. So I have pink, and we're doing 2 black on the bottom because it's going to again move down. So I'll just lay these on the loom here. So the pink one is going to go in the 3rd spot down. We have yellow, and then the bottom is black here for the tire. So the 2 black are going to have to be placed on the second pin up. So I'll get my clear band off, and then the bottom bands. Push down, and then again this top black is going to have to come off and move below. My next clear is going to stretch across all 7 pins. In row 6 we're going to do the skin color and another part of the shirt. So it starts with yellow, and as I said earlier, if you don't have a color that you like for skin tone in the alpha bands, you can use a band and double it. And I have my shirt color, there's a yellow, and then the last 3 are black. So the clear, oops, I missed this end one here. push down. And now before we add our clear band, I do have to move this bottom black band up because in the next row we're only going across 6 pins. So it just moves to the pin above on each side. And then the bottom band comes over. Now I can add my clear, and again I'm not doubling this time. In row 7 we have just yellow and black, so this is in between the people. So for the bus driver, I gave her the black, or him if you're making a boy, a row of black right behind them, just to make a little extra space for the driving area. And then for the kids, you'll notice that I did not use black behind them. Now once again we're going to have to get rid of this bottom row because we're done with the tire. But if I take the bottom bands and move them up and move the yellow over the top, you're still going to see black, and I don't want that to happen. So we're going to do something a little tricky here. We're going to take the yellow band and move it down. Then we're going to take the black and move it over the top. And then we're going to take the yellow and put it back. So I'm going to do the same thing here. This yellow is going to come down. Then the black can go over it. And then it's going to move back up. Now I have my clear band, and it's going to stretch across the 5 pins, and this is going to be the middle of the bus. So it's kind of at your discretion whether or not you want to double this, because 5 is pretty big, but if you don't double it, it does get kind of on the loose side. If you do double it, it's kind of a long stretch. If you're doing it on the Rainbow Loom, you're definitely not going to be able to double this. But what I would recommend, as I said earlier, is if you take your band and stretch it out ahead of time, that's going to give it a lot more slack. So then you can just double it on the pin, and then it's going to be this long stretch down. So as I said, it's up to you. I don't want anybody to have their bands break or have their hook break. Row 8 is all yellow. Again, they look a little twisted here, so I'm just going to straighten that out. And just be careful when you're pulling this middle one over. If you have it doubled, it is definitely going to be tighter to get off. And again, my clear. So I did already stretch this out a bit, so it's going to be easier to pull. In row 9, we're starting our first child, so I have green for the shirt color. Doing a black in the second spot, whoops. Then your green and yellow. My next clear, In row 10 we have the next part of the child. So you have your skin tone, your shirt color, and then yellow. So this is growing longer than my loom, so it's not going to sit very flat for me here anymore. Now here's my crossband. And now my next one's all yellow. Crossband. Now I have my second child. So the second one down is black. And then your next color you want for your shirt. So I'm doing the purple and yellow. Now here's my clear. Row 13 is the second half of our child. So I have the skin tone on the second peg, then my purple and yellow. And I'm doubling the next one. In the next row, we're going to have 2 bands on this 5th pin down because we're going to start our next tire. So it's going to be all yellow on top. And then on this 5th pin down, on top of the yellow, we're putting a black. So again, just the bottom here is coming off. And then we're going to take this black and shift down. Now for this next clear band, I'm not doubling, so it's going to go across the 6 pins. In row 15, we're starting the pattern for our last child. So it's going to be black on the second one, and then I've chosen orange, so that's next. We have yellow. And then our tire needs to extend down to the bottom. So on this second pin up from the bottom, we're actually putting 2 black. So you'll feel that this band is not nearly as tight if you've been doubling the others. And the bottom comes off. And then I'm going to have to move the black band down. And I'll push all of this down. So you can see it's coming along nicely here. We're actually almost to the end. Our next clear is going to go across everything. In row 16 we have our last little person, the last part of our little person. So we have the skin tone, and then the shirt color. There's one yellow, and then the last three are black for the tire. Now I have to take the bottom black here and move it back up. We need to narrow this. So bottom one comes off. And my next clear, I'm not doubling. In the next row we have mostly yellow with just one black at the bottom. And now, just like we did before, we have to narrow this, but I can't bring the black up and put the yellow over the top. So I have to take the yellow and move that down, then take the black off and move the yellow back. Doing that with each of the sides. So yellow comes down, black comes off, yellow goes back. Here's my last clear band, and I will double this one since it's going over 5 rows. And now I have all yellow. And we're just about done here. Push this down. Now I have just one silver band left, and that's going to be tying it off at the bottom, and it's for the bumper on the back of the car. So first I have to get together all these upper bands, get them tied off. So from the right, I'm going over to the left. I'm going to do that with everything. And then I'm going to take the bottom bands, pull them over the top, and I'm just going to push this down a little bit. And now, starting here on the right, I'm just going to take the band, move it down, reach in through the top, push back on the top band, the bottom one comes up through and moves over. Same thing, reach down through, bottom comes up through and over, and again. So now you can take those off, they're secure. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take my hook and reach down through these two loops here. Take my silver, it's going to come up through, back on, and one through the other. Now I can take this off, and I'm going to pull that rather tightly, and then I'm going to just reach up through here and pull that through. And if you want to, you can loop it around a couple times if you have room. And then once you have this little tail on the back, you're just going to reach through some bands in the back of the bus here, and you're just going to hide that underneath. So you're going to have to do a little bit of adjusting here. You can see it's curling this way, but that's easy to straighten out. If you can't see their faces really well, just sort of separate that there. And if the tires need to be shaped in any way, you can do that. And sometimes you may have to do a little bit of adjusting to the front bumper here. But then you are finished. I hope that everyone loves their new little school bus charms. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that way you can be notified when I have new tutorials available. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to share your comments and pictures there too, and you can subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!